Hey, hey, hey.
Good evening.
Happy Friday. How you doing?
Oh, happy fucking Friday. I'm
Yeah.
good, thanks. Yeah.
TGIFF.
Oh, hell
F.
yeah. Yeah,
TGIFF. FF. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank God it's
Um,
fucking
just,
Friday.
I know. And we've got another week of fuckery next week to look forward to, but
Maybe.
the weekends are
Maybe's
always different
I.
because,
Maybe no.
well, I, at the rate we're going, our stupid, insane, evil government is going to get all of us bloody killed by Monday morning.
Well, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think
No,
it's quite as bad
I
as.
exaggerate.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite as
I
bad as
agree.
that at the moment. At the moment.
I'm exaggerating muchly.
Yes, you are. You are. But having said that, so it's been a hell of a week. I mean, we've had quite a few things happen. Tuesday we had the debate. I didn't listen to it. All right. I don't know why. I just couldn't be bothered.
I never listened to that shit.
Um,
It's
we
so pointless.
we had a semi-celebrity's birthday
Who?
on Tuesday.
Oh, me. Yeah. Who the hell's a semi-celebrity? No, I don't want to be a celebrity. No.
So it was Ed's birthday on Tuesday. We had a rabbit hole last night. What else happened this week? Oh, do you remember that strange terrorist incident that wasn't a terrorist incident in Wiltshire?
No.
Right, so
Wiltshire
Police HQ shut down their HQ, sealed off the road, deployed armed police all around it, had fire service and ambulances there. And then, and this went on for quite a while. And then it turned out it wasn't a terrorist incident and it's all been resolved and there was no arrests. And it's like, what was going on? Because
so did someone press the wrong button in their control room and
well, do you want to hear my theory?
Yeah, go on then.
My theory is one of their armed cops went nuts and took some hostages.
That's a logical, yeah.
And it's all been hushed up. Because
that wouldn't surprise me.
When I was a serving police officer in the firearms team in Strathclyde, one of the cops during shift change took the gun and used it on himself.
Right.
Just
his history of mental health problems, or he just went nuts?
No, he just decided that was it. Enough was enough, and boom.
Well, this is the problem with firearms. It makes it very, very, very easy to make a decision that you can't walk back from.
Well, that's true. Oh,
that's true.
So yeah. So I'm just. It just has that weird thing about it where everyone went into lockdown. There was cops everywhere, armed police were all over the place, and yet, nothing to see here. Just move along. Yeah.
No, I mean, given that you are a copper yourself, I think your gut instinct is probably to be trusted in this case.
Well, I don't know I don't think we'll ever know the full story, but I think something went awry. Something went awry in there.
It might not have been exactly the scenario you described, but
yeah,
it was probably something along those lines. Someone did something that they just need to hush up and not talk about.
So at this point in the proceedings, before we go any further, Ed, I'm just going to issue a public service announcement. Remember, people, remember. You know, it's for your own good. It's for the good. It's for the greater good, even, isn't it? Think before you post.
And in our case, before you speak. But I've had gin and tonics and wine, so we might get ourselves into trouble tonight.
Oh, almost certainly will. I just, there's something about Starmer. He's so freaking creepy, but not in
he really is.
Not in a kind of trick cyclist way, like Jeremy Vile.
Banality of evil.
But he does. There is something. It's like
It exemplifies the banality of evil. He is I mean, Alex Christoforou from the Duran calls him Mr. Boring. He is literally, I mean, he's easily the most boring world leader. I struggle to even see any sense of any kind of human personality. And he's a willing disciple of the security services because he's protected them on numerous occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's just a tool of the deep state. His father made a tool, and the tool went to work for the deep state. And I don't trust him. I've never trusted him. And I mean, even just what he did to Corbyn, who's, I mean, he's drummed out of. He's arguably the most Labour person. I don't agree with everything Corbyn said. I do think that he would have made a good prime minister because he would have put the country first, not himself.
Yeah.
And he would have made bad decisions. They all do. He would have been stymied by the system. But fundamentally, I think that he would have actually tried to work for the good of the country rather than the good of his globalist masters. And Starmer is a globalist through and through. And what he did to Corbyn, I mean, Corbyn's probably the least anti-Semitic person in the whole of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And he got jumped out of his party for being an anti-Semite. And
that whole thing was put to bed. It was all found to be nonsense, was it not? Or am I wrong? Because I thought it was all completely disproven.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was complete nonsense from the start. But what we've found with the lobby representing a certain Middle Eastern country is that they are basically above all of that. If they want you gone, then you're gone. And it's anti-Semitic to say that they control stuff, but they still control a whole lot of stuff. I mean, they have
a very powerful lobby in many countries other than just the US and the UK.
It's actually a frightening number of countries because they're very active in Australia as well.
Yeah. But the least said about that group, the better, because we'll end up going down a rabbit hole that will get us struck off.
Yeah, we're not doing rabbit holes tonight.
No. So this picture of Herr Keith striding down the red. Yeah, I know you did, and I made a thumbnail out of it, mate. Did you not notice?
No.
Okay. He's certainly been drinking tonight. We're going to have to hold his hand, people. Right. So anyway, we've got Herr Keith here. We're strolling down the red carpet as he arrives in America. So what happened with these two fatties off to the side? Were they not allowed to walk on the red carpet? Were they too heavy for it?
Well, are they?
I don't know who they are.
I mean,
they're obviously hangers-on from his entourage.
Well, based on, I mean, they're definitely not security. I think we can establish that.
unless they're gonna roll over people.
According to protocol, I would suggest that they are either U.S. State Department people or they are your British Embassy in Washington people.
Yeah.
I don't know what the British ambassador to the United States looks like. I don't even really care very much, but I mean, one of them looks like a wife, so maybe it's the British ambassador and his wife, and maybe they've just been enjoying the large portion sizes in America.
That's very assumptionist of you. One of them looks like a wife.
Well,
I love it. Anyway, what's he got in that case? Is it his sandwiches? I mean, what else can he possibly have? Or is it a big wad of cash?
I've had all sorts of hilarious responses from followers on Twitter since I've posted a few of the memes with him in his red briefcase. Everything ranging from
it's his underpants. It's a fresh set of underpants.
Teddy bear and a bottle of milk.
Yeah, it's a fresh set of underpants and a marmalade sandwich probably. So good evening to the troll room. It's Brett Mechanic, Amy and Dystopia, Shalini, Elusive, Robin, Vicky Humble. Is that a new name, Ed? Do we know a Vicky Humble?
Vicky, I think Vicky's a Twitter follower of mine.
Right. She will be, because you've got fucking thousands of followers. Give me some of them. So as I can at least get to the monetization stage. Go on, follow me on Twitter, people. Anyway, Tony Garrett, Britmate, who else we got? Dreadeye and Julie, yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it. And Ray. There we go. Hey, Vicky. Oh, right. Anyway, so moving on. Yeah, it's. I don't know. This photograph was bad enough, and you did do a good meme of it, which I did make into thumbnail, right? But what?
I've seen it now.
Yeah, you approve. I even left your signature on it, mate. I gave you credit.
That.
Gave you credit.
Thank you.
I wouldn't steal it.
No, of course not. I wouldn't mind if you did, mate. That's not what I do my memes. I'm not. I mean, if they get out there and they make people laugh, then I don't mind whether it's necessarily attributed to me. It's nice if it is, obviously, but if it isn't, I'm not gonna shoot my pants about it. The thing about Starmer, going back to this picture, something that it's the same. It's the same with his creepy glasses, which really bug me.
Mm-hmm.
And the box. He's all about image. He's like a hollow shell of a person. He doesn't have any real power, and he knows it. And he's using all these accoutrements, like the box and the glasses. He's trying to project a sense of authority, which he doesn't actually feel.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever seen a prime minister carrying a case.
No. If he actually had, I don't know, you have a minion doing that.
Yeah, you would.
That's the thing. You never see. I mean, when was the last time you saw a world leader emerging from his airplane in Washington carrying a bright red briefcase? And the thing is that
I'm sorry, I'm just remembering Rishi Sunak when somebody made a meme about it, and somebody had the King Charles standing there saying, "Where's the pakora?"
That's very politically incorrect.
It's very politically incorrect, but it was funny.
It was funny as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry about that. Yeah. I told you about my racist incident yesterday, didn't I? When I upset Noel from Doctor Who. Yeah. If you're watching us now, we're good now. We're good now, mate. We've made up. I made him a song.
You should write a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
It'd be a fucking short book. I'd be better writing one that was entitled How to upset people and make them hate you. Oh, I got put on a list yesterday. First time for ages I've been put on a list. I get so excited when I get put on lists because it allows me to block somebody with complete no compunction. Yeah.
Do you have any compunction when you block people? What the hell is wrong with you?
No, I don't. I generally don't. The problem is I like them to. Favorite. Yeah, but I like them to see my witty riposte. That's the problem. So
why?
Because it's a witty riposte. I'm fucking witty, you know. I can buy. I'm sharp. Well, I can buy like that.
Well, I know you're sharp and witty, but it's still. I don't know. I always have this quote from Gandalf in.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait.
No,
stop.
Two Towers.
Stop a minute. Amy. I think you'll have to retrain. You'll have to retract that statement because I've just started drinking. I'm only on my second half glass of wine. He's maybe 3 sheets to the wind, but I certainly am not. I'm just feeding off his energy. I'm an emotional vampire. Don't you know?
Anyway, it's Friday night. Yes, I've had a drink, and no, I don't care.
Yeah, no, you're right. Right, tell me about what were you talking about? Tolkien?
Oh yeah, the quote from Gandalf. Whenever it's like because I get nasty people replying to shit all the time, and it's an instant blog, and I always just think, what is it? He says, I haven't passed through fire and death to bandy crooked words with a witless worm.
Is that what you say? I bet you say that to yourself as you click on
it. I'm thinking.
No, I bet. Yeah, I bet you're in your head. You're going, I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't ban. He didn't pass through fire and death to bandy words with a witless worm blocked.
crooked words. And literally, because you got the NAFO idiots, the 77th idiots. I mean, most of them are barely literate, and they just come out with the same meaningless, insulting nonsense.
Yeah.
And the more their particular side is shown to be in the wrong or losing, the more vicious they get, and it's just pathetic. And you can just see these little soldier wieners that, for whatever reason, are not actually on the bloody front lines, or they're little Estonian chihuahuas sitting in Tallinn that are sitting in front of a computer practicing their English.
Oh God!
And I don't.
Brit, do I have to put on a posh accent, Amy? Do I need to put on my grumpy Scot voice? Anyway, Britmate says the 77th community. The 77th do community notes these days.
Well, yeah, them and every other. I mean, I actually know a couple of community noters who are on our side of the fence. Yeah. But the system is basically trying to. They're trying to control Twitter in whatever way they can.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not calling it X because it's a fucking boring name, and I don't care if I get accused of dead naming the thing. You can't dead name a social media platform anyway. It only works with people.
That's like people that ask AI to do things and then with a please on the end of it.
Oh no! You always no. One point that I make is I always say please and thank you to the AI, because you never know that some stupid human is going to end up connecting it to a weapon system, and then it's going to remember that you were polite to it.
Oh no, I never. I treat it as a tool, because that's what it is. It's a machine. It's a tool. So I don't say to the Hoover, "Oh, would you mind awfully doing the cleaning up today?" You know? No, I just use it. And then there was that terrible time I had to take it to the hospital to have it surgically. I jest, people. I jest. A digest is what I need. AI is a tool, a bit like Starmer. Yeah, I think you're right, Special Mechanic. Did your comment get removed, Yassi? What? Well, right. There are things called block lists, Yassi. So if you put something in that's on the block list, it just won't appear, because YouTube has an extensive block list and the problem is we're responsible as the channel. We're responsible for what you say. So if you start putting stuff out there that isn't YouTube friendly, then it doesn't do us any good. But there is a block list as well as my moderators. I trust you people, the moderators. Right, carry on, Ed. Sorry, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I interrupted you again.
I've completely lost my train of thought now. Anyway, so doesn't matter.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to move on to the next picture, right? Because while this picture I thought was incredibly bad, right? The next one really, and this is a Scottish phrase. Well, I think it's a Scottish phrase, but the next one really rips my knitting, right?
What, you're knitting as in?
It rips my knitting. Yeah, knitting.
Well, knitting as in what? Are you talking about knitting?
No, it's an expression. It rips my knitting.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out what the word knitting is supposed to mean.
Knitting is knitting. You know, like when you knit a sweater or a scarf.
Well, all you had to do was say yes.
Right.
Jesus.
Jeez, oh man. Right. This picture rips my fucking knitting. What? Right, first of all, can I just ask one thing before you start ripping into it? Because you'll probably have got more to say about it than I have. But can I ask one thing? How and why? How and why does Robert Peston always look like he's just been pulled out of a fucking hedge or a dustbin?
Because he literally, I think that they pull him out of a dustbin whenever he's got to go on assignment. And he's so annoying that when he comes back, they just chuck him straight in the dustbin and just leave him there.
The man
until they need him again.
He looks horrible, awful, and unclean. he's like the kind of, and no wonder nobody's actually quite near him. Everybody else is almost they're all bundled together, touching each other, so they can be in the photograph with Keith. I'm in the photo with Keith. But I mean, this is like sycophant city. This just makes me sick.
Well, yeah, they're supposed to be holding truth to power, not kissing Power's arse on Power's private plane while they fly to Washington and probably drink champagne and eat really nice food at the taxpayer's expense.
No, but you know who these guys are?
They're all journalists.
This is the press pack. Yeah, this is the press pack, the travelling press pack. They get to float about on our provided airplane that Starmer uses to junk about the world on now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this one picture actually exemplifies probably about 95% of what's wrong with the United Kingdom, because it represents the sycophantic media who just kiss ass and do as they're told. It represents this personality-free, out-of-touch prime minister that is just so horny for power, and he absolutely loves the attention, and it's just he's a weak, pathetic little man that is basically devoid of any substance, and he has all of these people that are kowtowing to him. It actually makes me think of this. I'm not sure if you've seen it. There's a film, I think it's called Official Secrets, with Keira Knightley, about the Catherine Gunn affair. And I'm not going to go through the whole film, but it's worth watching. But Catherine Gunn was a GCHQ whistleblower before the Iraq War.
Keira Knightley, is she a British knockoff of Natalie Portman?
Natalie Portman's British as well.
Oh, is she? Right, okay. So is Keira Knightley the cheaper version of Natalie Portman?
Well, I guess, I don't know. It depends on, I think with those two, it kind of depends on what floats your boat. Because if you like skinny English Rose, then Keira Knightley is your thing. And if you like slightly, I can't even say the J word because I don't want to get into trouble.
What?
I think she's got dual Israeli citizenship.
Who has?
But she's just
Keira?
Natalie Portman.
Oh, Natalie.
No, Natalie Portman. Okay. But anyway, the point being about Official Secrets is there's a scene in that film where, because Catherine Gunn, she gives the information initially to a friend who passes that on to the journalist at The Guardian. And there's a scene with the Guardian editor and a whole bunch of these other media people, like journalists and other manager type people. And there's one of them who's, I think, their political editor or something, and he's really pally with the Tony Blair government. And he's the only one arguing against publishing this story because it'll lose his access with the government.
Yeah.
And it's that type of journalist that we see arrayed in front of us now. Who basically, they're not going to hold truth to power.
No, of course they are.
Because power makes their jobs really easy. Because instead of actually having to do proper journalism, like, say, John Pilger, they just sit in their freaking offices and they get phone calls from, like, people in politics who want to leak stuff deliberately as part of the agenda, or they write articles to support whatever the current narrative is. And it's just pathetic. I have so little faith in mainstream journalists that, as far as I'm concerned, they're just part of the system. And anyone that believes a single word they read in any newspaper or see on any news TV program, it's all lies from beginning to end. And if they're either lying by omission, where they're only telling you, okay, so yeah, they're telling you the truth, but they're not telling you the whole truth.
I've just seen your message from.
Shut up now.
I've just seen your message on Twitter when I asked if you were coming along to the show tonight. I can't read that one out. No,
that wouldn't.
Right, hold on.
Suffice it to say, I was having problems with Windows, and the message was expressing extreme frustration about the fact.
It was expressive, right? Let's move to the next picture. Let's see what we've got. It's right. It's okay. So,
oh,
we're not
God.
surprised by this one, are we, people?
You're properly trying to wind me up tonight.
No, not at all. What I'm actually looking. I'm looking for what was that fucking thing I was watching? The Thick of It. Have you ever seen that? Have you watched The Thick of It?
No.
You need to watch it. What's his name? Peter Capaldi plays Dominic Cummings. Basically, pardon me. It is a scream. It's a BBC document, not a documentary drama, but comedy. It's hilarious, and it's set in, it's set in a minister's office, but it's a bit like an up to date Yes Minister, but more down to the ground and really, really, really gritty and really good. What's his name?
Minister is brilliant.
Oh, Peter Capaldi is fantastic in it. He's fantastic.
Well, there's no way we'd get anything like Yes Minister now. Same with Spitting Image.
You have a look at Thick of It, and it's not that old. It's maybe about 10 years old. No, it's not. It's longer. It was 2005 it started.
Well, no, I mean now, as in 2024.
Well, yeah. Capaldi was a great Doctor Who, I'll give you that. Yeah. Right. So anyway, this picture, Zelensky, the next peace summit will be in November. Russia will be invited. Guess what? Guess what? I guarantee. Well, I don't guarantee, but my instant reaction was, yeah, will it be on the 6th of November? Because what happens on the 5th, don't fucking say Guy Fawkes or I'll come over there and they'll slug you.
I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. What else happens on the 5th of November?
Fucking election.
Oh, that's
so they can't talk peace until after the election.
Well,
see, they can't. See, this is the problem. America's got to spin this shit out until after the election, because if they walk away now, it's a massive fucking fail. And and you know what? The public really shouldn't be that surprised, because they're used to it by now, because America just walks away from every fucking war it hasn't won, which is every war after the Second World War.
And it didn't even win that.
No, I know.
If it hadn't been for the Soviets in the Second World War, we wouldn't have won.
We wouldn't. And again, that was another. It was, and people are going to hate me for this. If you may hate me for this if you want, but to be honest, the fucking Second World War was a war we didn't need to put our fucking beaks into. We really didn't. Hitler wasn't coming for us.
No, there was the First World War.
No, we didn't need our beaks in that either. Yeah.
No.
We didn't need to be in Korea. We didn't need to be in Vietnam. We didn't need to be in Burma. I mean, everywhere we go, we don't need to fucking be there.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the story of empire.
Yeah, well, and all we've done is basically kill people, oppress people, and get our own people killed as well.
Yeah, pretty much. And in the case of Ukraine, there's a good chance that we've destroyed our own economy, because
of course we have.
A lot of the loans. I mean, I think the British government has underwritten something like $80 billion worth of loans for Ukraine.
Well,
which if Ukraine defaults, then suddenly the United Kingdom is on the hook for that money, and that represents rather a lot of money. I mean, 80 billion is probably about £8,000 per taxpayer in the UK.
Yeah, well, here we go. BlackRock and JP Morgan have set up a reconstruction bank for Ukraine. BlackRock and JP Morgan Chase are reportedly aiding the Ukrainian government in setting up a reconstruction bank that could see rebuilding projects being heavily invested in by private entities. And you know what that means? That means American contractors get in there, fucking rip the piss out of you and take as much money as they possibly can. Just like they did in Iraq, you know?
Yeah, but I strongly doubt it's going to be American contractors rebuilding.
No, I think, as I said to someone said something on Twitter the other day about sending something to Ukraine. And I said, well, you better fucking hurry up, because by this time in 2020, this time at the end of the year, that's going to have a Russian postcode, not a Ukrainian one.
Well, that's basically the thing. There's two options. Either Ukraine loses and Ukraine goes down, and the Russians surround Kiev and demand Zelensky's unconditional surrender, etc., etc., or the idiots running foreign policy, i.e. the UK and the US neocons primarily, who are basically one and the same thing, they manage some escalation which gets all of us killed. The whole thing is absolutely insane, and our stupid government is the most warmongering and the most active in trying to bring this to pass.
No,
and I mean, and what's worse is that most people in the country have got no idea, or they actually believe all of the bloody nonsense that they've heard.
That's the thing that gets me. The amount of people that think that we've got to do this, and it's always fucking retarded people like solicitors. You know, and what is it with solicitors? Why do they always think that we have no option but to stand up against the bully Putin? You know, I mean,
they don't
have a fucking clue what they're talking about. This is the thing.
And it's like they said, "Oh, Putin's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine." It's like it didn't start then. It started in 1991 when we immediately started going back on agreements that we'd made with the Soviets when the wall came down, and then further fermented in 2014 when the West actually instigated a coup,
Colour Revolution,
through
Maidan Square,
And I mean,
like that's the one. I did a whole fucking video about it and got a community strike for telling the truth.
Yeah, no, you would do. Absolutely, because that stuff can't get out because it completely contradicts the entire narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
And the whole thing is insane. I've had arguments with friends about it, and it's just like you don't even.
Let's move on. I will get demonetized because I'll get angry and start talking about things. Right. So anyway, I mean, I'd always thought that the old joke about Polacks being shallow, thick, and slow was a bit, just like like the Irish being thick and slow. It was just a casual slur against people that you really didn't mind, but
Scots being tight.
Exactly, that kind of thing. Cornish being a bit dim, that kind of stuff, yeah. But anyway, Northerners not wearing jackets or not even possessing a jacket. Oh no, that's true. Sorry. But anyway, so what the fuck is Poland going on about here, right? I urge Kiev. This is a Polish foreign minister. Sikorski, right? I urge Kiev to find a solution to the Volyn tragedy as soon as possible. If not, Poland will take tough measures against Ukraine. What?
The helicopter wanker is literally just ignore him.
No, but this is a thing that happened in the Second World War. Right? This Volyn tragedy. And yeah, people died and got killed by Ukrainians, allegedly, right? Just like loads of other people got killed by other groups of people, allegedly, right?
That one's not allegedly.
Right, okay. Right. But what the fuck do they want? What do they want? What do they want? Reparations for what? For people being dead? I mean, what do they want?
We're talking about people who have historically got massive grudges with each other.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And that's the problem.
But Sikorski is also, he's another dangerous lunatic. I mean, he was the one that tweeted, well done, USA, when the Nord Stream went up. I mean, he's definitely not the sharpest tool in the box.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, oh, great, thanks, Radek. Yeah, you just blew the whole thing. Well done, mate. Cheers.
Yeah. So, but what's he wanting? What kind of measures is he going to take against Ukraine? I mean, is it not enough to be getting pummeled up the arse by Russia without Poland coming in and trying to fucking, give them a quick snog and a grope round the front? I mean, what the fuck is going on here? What are these people actually trying to do? I mean, in one hand they say, we stand with, and then on the other hand they say, but you better fix this. Poland just wants fucking Liev back, doesn't it? That's what it wants. Yeah, pretty much. Because the problem with Ukraine is it's a made-up country, isn't it? It's just parts of other countries and other ancient empires like the Austrian and Hungarian Empire and the old Russian Empire. They just want all their little bits back.
Yeah, I mean, all of Ukraine's neighbors have got territorial claims on Ukraine, and we've got Russia in the east. You've got Hungary, Romania, and Poland in the west,
and Austria,
and Austria. And it's, I mean, Ukraine. If you look on maps pre-1900, you won't find a single National Geographic map that mentions Ukraine.
Yeah,
it's just not on there because it was a creation of the Soviets.
Yeah.
And you can understand Russia's issue because the thing that the British people and Americans have never had. I mean, the last time that the British got invaded, it was the French, and it was hundreds of years ago. The Americans have never actually had to deal with an enemy on their own soil. The Russians have they've had two massive armies in recent history.
When the British marched on Washington and burnt down the White House.
Well, that does. I mean, that's War of Independence.
It's quite a good one, though, isn't it? I do like to slip that one in occasionally. I quite like it.
But technically
yes, I know.
Speaking, America was still a colony.
Yeah, I know.
But the whole point is that every single Eastern invasion, if you're going to invade Russia from the west, you go through Ukraine.
Yeah,
simple, because geographically there's no other way to do it. The British and the French have been trying to take Sevastopol, particularly Crimea, because of control of the Black Sea. Because if you can take control of the Black Sea away from Russia, it's one of their few warm water deep ports. And it's massively strategic. There's no way the Russians are ever giving that up.
I know, because I mean, the ones north of that freeze up during the winter, so they're not used to them.
Exactly. And the thing is that one of the things that really, really irritates me, and has for a very long time, about this whole thing with Russia, is that Russia is not allowed to do things that the United States would do in a heartbeat. Because, I mean, if the Chinese or the Russians overthrew the Mexican government, or fomented a coup in Mexico,
or the Canadian government,
or the Canadians, say the Chinese actually overthrew the Canadian government, put in place the Chinese, and then they started building.
They might be getting close to it. They might be getting close to it, because let's face it, have you ever been to Vancouver?
Well,
that's what the locals call it. I mean, that's not my words. That's what the locals call it, right? I mean, you land in Vancouver Airport, right? You get on the bus, and we were going up to the ski resort in Whistler. But you get on the bus, which is going to be like an hour and a half's drive, but you're on the bus and you're going through Vancouver, and holy fucking, you are looking out there, and I'm thinking, did we divert to Hong Kong? Really? I mean, everything was in Chinese, right? All the neon signs, all the shops, everything was Chinese. I thought we were in Hong Kong. I really did. I thought, because I've lived in Hong Kong, and I'm like, and it was dark, so that helped as well. But it's like, did the plane land in Hong Kong by mistake? It's absolutely incredible. Vancouver, that's what the locals call it. I had an argument. I had an argument with a Chinese guy. I had an argument with a Chinese guy in the car park when we went down to Vancouver for the day, and I parking the car outside in a big multi-story, and I parked the car in a space, and this Chinese guy fucking comes out and starts shouting at me for parking in his space. And I'm like, no mate, it's just a space. So he fucked off when I turned on the charm.
Well, you can be charming. Wow.
Yeah. I was charming once. In fact, it was the evening of the Scotland-England game, when Scotland, on one of those very rare occasions, actually won. And strangely enough, for someone who doesn't follow football, I was at the game at Wembley, right? That's weird. I know. I mean, it's history in the making, because that was the game where we took everything. We took the goalposts, the fucking pitch, everything. The Scottish just tore Wembley apart and took it all home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was out that night in the town with my cousin, who was English, and we were walking down We're walking across the road, and this car comes screaming round a corner and fucking screeches to a halt just at my knee because I was walking across the road. And I fucking looks at it, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Yeah, and I was only like 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the doors in this car started to open, and these 4 guys started to get out of the car. And I just fucking went, berserker mode. Dumped my hands on the bonnet and went, come ahead then. And they all got back in the car and fucked off. Are you okay?
Oh my days, that's funny. I bet you're properly scary when you go all psycho.
Oh yeah, I can be. Yeah, can't have fun.
Oh dear, you fucking mad bastard.
Yeah, I did. And the thing was, they were just as well getting back in the car because the place was still full of fucking Scotland fans, I mean, and everybody was on a high. We were all on a high because we won, it just never happens.
Oh, I bet. I bet the bar staff really enjoyed that evening.
Oh, I can't remember. Other than that incident, I can't remember anything else that happened that night.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good. Anyway, this is part of the life's rich tapestry. This is why we do all in, isn't it? Because we can get these nonsense stories out there. Flags on the stage. Oh. Yeah, that was my fault. I hit the wrong button, didn't I? Hit the wrong button.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you, Vaughn. Yeah, but look who tweeted this. Look who tweeted this. That meme master. No. So this is actually quite a good one. Today's load of bollocks from the Dear Leader. We are not seeking any conflict with Russia. It's not part of our intentions in the slightest.
It's such absolute patent nonsense because he's only travelling to Washington to try and convince the geriatric old fool or whichever minion, probably Jake Sullivan, who is arguably got more power in Washington than Tony Blinken, but I don't know what your opinion on that is. But anyway,
I think you might have.
The Dear Leader is in Washington to ask to convince them to give the cokehead of Kiev permission to use long-range bloody missiles to attack Russia inside Russia.
No, I don't think
declaring war on Russia. What the hell?
Who made us boss? This is a part I don't understand. How did we end up boss again? Because we're not supposed to be boss. America's supposed to be boss.
Do you see the state of the President of the United States?
and his deputy.
Well, and have you seen the state of? Both. Oh,
my name's Camel-Toe.
If you think, I doubt that anyone lets Kamala Harris have any serious power. I mean, the vice president. Did you know that under the original, the vice presidential position is actually quite funny, because the original drafters of the Constitution intended the vice president to be the losing candidate who would forsake all party allegiances and for the good of the nation join. And I mean, it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. If the president is incapacitated, which he clearly is, then you've got the 25th Amendment, and the vice president is cast the deciding vote in the Senate or the House. I think it's the Senate. I can't remember. Anyway, one of the two. But she just does what she's told. I mean, she's. I think she's on the booze most of the time. Anyway.
Oh yeah, or something stronger. I need to address the chat room, Robin. I think you may be mistaken. So, I'm pretty old, so I actually remember when we did rule the world. But yeah, the Scottish would not understand. The English have always thought they rule the world, but no, the English. Well, someone said, the Americans are the muscle, the Brits are the brains. Yeah, well, that's kind of right. It's kind of half right. But
you called David Lammy the brains?
No. So what really happens is, the English. Once you get to the UK, the English are the muscle, and Scots are the brains, and you're gonna have to fight to prove me wrong there, and in real terms, you're gonna have to fight hard to prove me wrong.
I'm not fighting. Have you seen the state of the country?
Oh yeah, the country's a fucking mess.
Really,
I mean, the worst
really
thing,
good fucking job there.
The worst thing, well, that's the problem. The worst thing we've done is devolved Parliament. I mean, it's just made it a complete and utter disaster because each one of these countries working on their own just can't cut the mustard. They worked better as a team. And I know people think they didn't, but they did. They actually worked better. Yeah. This devolved Parliament shite. It's just a complete and utter waste of time, money, and effort. It doesn't do anyone any favours. I have no regard for it whatsoever. I think it should be abolished immediately. But nobody's got the balls to do it.
No, I think it's just a way of creating more bureaucracy, and it creates layers and layers of government jobs to start with.
Yep.
But it's also it's all about divide and rule, because if you actually look, I'm not sure if you've ever watched any of Rosa Koire's lectures before she died. If you haven't, then it's actually worth spending an hour listening. She started off in local government in the US. I can't remember where. It might have been California. But she was in charge of like land use and things like that. And she came across the UN's Agenda 21. And I think it's now effectively Agenda 2030. They keep changing the names. But the thing about Agenda 21 is that it's all about local governments. That the way that with the whole one world government thing, which is what this is all part of, is the UN plan.
Yeah.
The national governments actually go. And it's the local governments, which is why the UN, because and I challenge anyone to do this, if you go to your local council in the UK, you can do freedom of information requests about what their 2030 Agenda 21 plans are, and you'll see the same UN bollocks popping up over and over again.
Right.
And the whole plan is that the control of the populace under the one world government is done locally, not nationally.
Yeah.
And the national governments effectively become, it's like what's happening with the EU, because the EU is the template for what the world government is going to look like. And the idea is that you have these regional groups. No. I mean, it's typical technocrat delusions, because they never factor in human nature.
Yeah.
And they always think that they can control absolutely every variable. And I mean, it's to be honest, I actually think that part of the problem is economics and economists, because you have this pseudoscience called economics, where a bunch of its practitioners, I mean, my very first economics class at school, the teacher went up to the blackboard and wrote, "Economics is a science." And then the next thing they talk about is ceteris paribus, which is the underpinning of every economic argument, is all ceteris paribus, which means all other things remain unchanged. So you're basically saying it's a science.
Yeah, as long as
but you're being really unscientific about it, and it's that same it's that same nonsense approach to the world.
It's like saying it's a black box system where you know all the inputs and outputs, right?
Absolutely.
But you don't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And you can't you can't factor them in. You can't control. More importantly, you cannot control how each of those individual inputs and outputs work. And that's why economics can never be a true science. And that's why it's classified as a social science, is it not?
Yes.
And social science is not a fucking science.
No, but if you look at econometrics, for example, the people who study econometrics don't think it's a social science. They think it's hard science.
Yeah, and I think they're wrong. I really do. I mean, I've done university level economics. I did it as part of my first degree. But yeah, I don't have a lot of time for it, to be fair. I mean, Keynes and all that, the theories are great, but they all break down and they all assume They all assume certain constants that aren't constants, or they assume certain things are fixed and they aren't fixed, and they just don't work. It just doesn't work.
Well, it's chaos theory.
Exactly. That was my next point. I was going to say it's like the weather system. It's a chaotic system, and you can't put your finger on it.
No, you can't. And the thing about chaotic systems is that they're inherently uncontrollable. And the more you try and control them, the less control you actually have. Mm-hmm. And you cannot predict what's going to happen in a chaotic system. You just can't. I mean, mathematicians have been trying it. We've got giant supercomputers running models trying to predict weather, and the absolute best they can do is about 3 days.
Yeah, and even then it's dodgy. And even then,
and once you get to day 3, yeah.
But even then, it's very localized, and you know it has an error. There's an error percentage that's in the teen, not in the teens, in the in the double figures, well into double figures.
And places have microclimates. I mean, I live in one of them because Brighton has a microclimate because of the South Downs, and we get quite. I mean, we generally have a lot of really good weather, because the bad weather tends to come from the north usually, and it's blocked by the Downs. And I mean, it's actually kind of annoying when I'm at work because I work in West Sussex. And so I have to go over the Downs to get to the office, and I can be bright sunshine waking up in the morning, go to work, and it's pissing down with rain all day. And I come back home and it's sunny, and it's like, oh, has it been sunny all day? Oh yeah, no, it's been really nice.
Yeah. I mean, I used to live in a microclimate as well. I used to live in Ayr, which is in a large bay on the coast, so the Gulf Stream warms it. It very rarely snowed in Ayr, to be fair. But you've also got Arran, 11 miles away, 20 miles away. It depends where you are in Ayr, because it is a bay. So Arran is 20 miles away, and it's got a big mountain on it. And what happens is, the weather in Scotland comes from the west almost always. Okay, so it's almost always wet weather that comes in off the Atlantic. You don't need chemtrails to make it rain in Scotland. So the weather comes in and it dumps all its rain. It dumps all its rain in Arran, and then gets pushed up with the mountain, takes a skip over Ayr, and then dumps its rain on the mountains behind Ayr. So Ayr ends up in this microclimate where you can grow palm trees. Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, microclimates are actually more common than not.
Yeah.
Because the climate of the country is actually not, the UK, for example, doesn't have one big climate. We have lots of different little microclimates, and you've got different parts of the country that are impacted by the Atlantic winds and the air that comes from the north and all this kind of thing. But then also the geography, obviously, because you have mountains and hills and all this other stuff. So I have so little time for climate scientists that as far as I'm concerned, we should put them all on one of Elon Musk's rockets and just fire them off into space.
Well, you've got to take a more kind of philosophical view of it, don't you? You got to be a bit like a Galileo without getting thrown in jail, because you're right, okay? But everybody,
Galileo's not the best example.
No, I know, but you're right. But you just have to wait it out, because it's all going to come to pass.
I just drink copious amounts of wine and smoke copious amounts of ganja. Simple.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to be.
Next slide.
Yeah, let's move on. Right. So you know what? I haven't had the opportunity to dive into this because, I'll be honest, I couldn't be fucking bothered. But I thought the headline was good enough, right? I mean, what the fuck? Is this because you have to do white balance?
Photography isn't. Look, the simple fact is that everything is inherently racist. This whole notion that it's also the thing that bugs me about it is that it's only ever seems to be directed at white people.
Of course it is.
Nobody ever complains. It's like the Chinese will call foreigners gaijin, which means
barbarian. Thai call them farang, I think.
Chinese call them guelo.
Yeah.
In Zambia, they're called muzungus. And the whole point is that all humans are inherently racist because we are all inherently designed as tribal creatures, because we're social animals, but we're only social within the group that we know.
I think
and so foreigners,
I think French is the male d'anglais.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, if you look at Spain,
yeah,
and the way that, and it's not, the thing is that it's not about being foreign or being different. It's about being a dick. And it's basically about respecting the culture that you go to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm half English and half Dutch, and I was brought up in Africa. So trust me, I know about living in other countries. And I mean, I've lived in Brighton for 30 years, and I still feel like a foreigner in England half the time. And then I go to Holland, and I feel like a foreigner there as well. And I've been on the receiving end of black racism in Africa. And the point is that, generally speaking, people are all basically the same. They're friendly. They want a roof over their heads. They want to raise a family. They want to have a job. They, if possible, go on a holiday or whatever. Fundamentally, they want very simple things. And we have this tiny proportion of the population that feels the need to control everything.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, generally,
of the ways they do that is racism, and it's just.
I don't think it even works. I don't think this racism thing works. And we had a way better approach to it in the 70s and early 80s, because we used to mock it all the time. Like, you would have things on TV like Love Thy Neighbor, or and even Alf Garnett was mocking it, right? It wasn't being racist, it was mocking the concept of racism. And people nowadays don't see that. They think, how can you talk like that? Because I mean, I watched, what was that thing, Love Thy Neighbor, I think. I watched that quite recently during lockdown, and that was a scream. That was a scream, because he used to call his neighbour, and it was the guy out of EastEnders, the black guy out of EastEnders. I can't remember his name. Oh God, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get accused again. I'm just calling a guy a black guy and not knowing his name. But anyway, so this is how it all started with the Doctor Who thing. But anyway, but he used to call his neighbour terms that we can't use here, right? But they were on the BBC in the 70s. This was broadcast television.
But if you look, the
thing is, it didn't. The thing was, the actual program was pretty good, because he was effectively a casual racist, just because he just didn't like the concept of a black guy moving in next to him, and he used to call him all sorts of things. And the thing is, it was all dealt with in a TV program, and it was relatively okay.
Do you remember an episode of Fawlty Towers called The Germans?
Oh, yeah. Don't mention the war.
White people. Yeah. So I mentioned the war, but I think I got away with it.
Yeah, no, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't.
A cold salad, a Herman Goring.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't mention the war. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You invaded Poland. But it's the same with Monty Python. I mean, when it's like that skit in The Life of Brian, where Eric Idle is like, I want to be a lady, and not be a lady. And it's just, oh my God.
That was so far ahead of its fucking time, wasn't it? I mean, did they know what was going to happen? I mean, the thing is, I think what that shows us is that these things have always existed to a degree, right?
John, I need the loo.
But that's fine. But I think what we've done nowadays is we've gone nuts. We've gone too far, because what we've done is we've gone to the. I'll just go to big screen. We've gone to the point where we are allowing people to have marginalised views and whatever, we're allowing them to have what they think is a majority view. And I don't think that works. It doesn't work at all. And it doesn't matter how many, if it's a tiny part of the percentage of the population, you can't allow them to think they've got a majority view because they don't. And you can't change society for a minority. I know that sounds like it might sound quite draconian, but I don't believe you can change society to benefit a minority. I think the minority has to just suck it up if you want to live in a society. And yeah, it sounds quite against some of the things I might think of, but I think that's a truism that I've just come to realise. Maybe not. I think Ed might be back. Hold on.
No, I'm back.
Yep, yeah, you're back. So what I said there, Ed, that I've actually maybe just come to realise, you can't, if you're a minority, right, a society can't change to accommodate you because, if a society accommodates a minority, then it's not being true to itself.
Well, I agree and I disagree. I think
yeah. Well, I was actually disagreeing with myself, but I was getting to that point.
Well, I think that there has to be.
Hold on, stop. Britmate wants to know. That was a quick one. Did you wash your hands?
What?
Britmate said, Jesus said, that was a quick pish. Did you wash your hands?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you don't need to, because if you've not got an infection, urine is inherently sterile. Did you know that?
Yeah, I was trying to rush to get back on the podcast.
Right, that's fine. Ed. You know what? You're in your own house, mate. You don't have to account yourself to these people.
No, but I don't.
Right. Anyway, so to go back to my musings. Should a society accommodate the minority at the expense of itself?
I think that a society that functions properly protects both the rights of the majority.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking about rights. I'm saying, should it change to accommodate a minority at the expense of itself? That's a different question to what you're saying. Do you want to become a politician?
You're assuming that the change that you mentioned doesn't happen anyway. So I think society has a duty to try and manage the change. But if you introduce new members to a group, those members are going to inevitably have an impact on the rest of the group. And there have to be rules of accepted behavior that get enforced. And the group has to agree with those rules. And the existing group will have agreed by those rules.
Right. So what if the existing group doesn't abide by those rules? And
well, if the existing group doesn't abide by those rules, then they've got no business trying to tell anyone else what to do. Frankly,
I think this is probably a question that would take longer to answer than we've got tonight.
Probably.
Yeah, this is probably more of a question for the pub, but yeah, I think
there's always going to be a question, and we should devote an entire episode.
Yeah, possibly, because in my view, there's always going to be an element. There's always going to be an element in any society, right, that is disadvantaged, regardless of how equal you try and make your society. It just doesn't work. It's the human condition. It will not work,
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah. Right, anyway, let's move on. And we might well devote an episode to that, because I think it's a talking point that we could go on that for some time, I think.
It's the kind of conversation people are interested in listening to. I'm up for it.
Right. So I'm sorry, people, and it's quite late in the night for me to be bringing this up, but I had to have another go at Alistair Campbell. Right. So Alistair Campbell, the dome is there. no end to new Labour legacy. 12 yellow poles for the months of the year. 52 metres high for the weeks of the year. 365 metres round for the days of the year. Is there no end to this new Labour legacy? And I said, ask the 500 kids that the new Labour legacy killed with the sanctions in the Middle East. I bet they loved that new Labour legacy. Yeah. Yeah.
The new Labour legacy is poisonous.
Yeah, isn't it?
Campbell is poisonous.
He's freaking horrible human being. There's no conception of what he's done.
No regret, no conscience. I mean, if there was any justice in the world, he and Blair would be rotting in a cell in the ICC.
Yeah, they would.
Not that you rot in cells in the ICC, because they're actually quite swanky, but...
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Have you seen the cells?
No, I've seen pictures of them because I did memes of them, because I decided... the nice thing about being a memer is that if something doesn't happen in the world, you can actually make it happen in your imagination. So I did a meme of Campbell and Blair in a prison cell in the ICC.
Yeah, you do it quite often.
In orange jumpsuits.
you do it quite often, I must admit. Right, okay, so this was a cracker. Britain's Crime Minister has a purse stolen at a meeting of police officers. So she was at a superintendent's meeting. Somebody stole her purse.
Hilarious.
That's freaking fantastic, isn't it?
And I think, I can't remember what it was, I'd have to look it up, but I think Maria Zakharova, the Russian, exceedingly intelligent and rather attractive.
Oh, you've got the hots. Come on, admit it. You've got the hots for her. You have. You would go there. You would go there like you'd be unlike Flynn, mate. You'd be unlike Flynn.
I'm not saying anything. I'll get myself into trouble.
No, you
actually
won't.
No. I'm single. What am I talking about? No, of course I am. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right, we're on.
But Russia. One of the things about Russia,
is
actually it has the proportion of attractive women in Russia is outrageously high.
Yeah.
But she had something pithy to say about that, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Anyway.
Yeah, Putin traded up, didn't he? He traded up. He did the dirty on his missus. He dumped her. He dumped the old dumpy. He dumped the kind of chunky, dumpy one and moved up to a younger, thinner model, didn't he? What are you laughing at? He did though.
Yeah,
and I thought the guy was kind of honourable, and he obviously thought, I'm going to trade up, and he did it. I mean, hey, fair play, but is that the right thing? Is that the right thing to do? If you're a world leader, if you're a world leader and you're trying to set an example, right? Is that the right thing to really do?
No, I don't think it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
But at the same time, we're all human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if the only thing about something like that is if it's done in an honorable way, and not like what was his name? Who was the guy? What was his name? Fuck's sake, the Genesis guy, the singer, Phil Collins. Not like Phil Collins did, dumped his wife by fax. There are ways to break up, and there are ways to not break up. I mean, I don't know. The thing is that I don't know any of the details about it, so I can't really comment on it.
Yeah, well, right. Let's say I'm being flippant here because it could have been a mutual agreement. It could have been it could have been they'd grown apart or something like that. It could have been something like that. I'm being a bit flippant, but as a world leader, you're right in the spotlight, and I think if you're going to make something work, you got to try and make it work. If you're a world leader.
Yeah, but
because people are looking at you.
Yeah, that's true, but it's also, if you actually think about the nature of the job itself, particularly someone like Putin, who's been in that job for like 30 years.
Yeah.
It's an all-consuming job, so I can't imagine it's necessarily easy to have a relationship and to actually give the person you're in a relationship with the kind of attention that person might want or need if you're doing a job like that. So
yeah,
maybe that has something to do with it.
Maybe.
I don't know. But I'm also it makes me think about JFK, who
had a string of affairs.
Absolutely, one of the stains on his character.
That's a horrible thing to say about Marilyn.
Well, actually, one of the more interesting, the JFK, and I don't know if people are interested in a tangent. This is probably a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be worried about it at this point in time. If they're stuck around this long, and I've got to say they have, if they've stuck around this long, they'll probably want to hear about JFK.
Well, one of his mistresses, I've just got to remember her name, began with Mary Pinchot Meyer. That's the one.
Right.
There's a book that was published called Mary's Mosaic, and she's not just one of Kennedy's mistresses or alleged mistresses, but she also was found dead on a towpath in Washington, not that long after Kennedy's assassination, and she was her husband. Meyer, what was his first name? Basically, her husband was in cahoots with James Jesus Angleton, who was director of counterintelligence.
James Jesus Angleton, he was an evil bastard.
Yeah, yes, suffice to say, but
they were
part of a whole social group.
We might do a rabbit hole on him.
Well, to be honest, the Mary Pinchot Meyer, because there's an interesting story that she actually introduced Kennedy to effectively MDMA.
Yeah, right, okay.
Initially to help with his pain, but also then subsequently to psychedelics. And that essentially, part of his when he dealt with the Cuban Missile Crisis, that additional perspective informed his. I don't know. This is just. I mean, this is what this Mary's Mosaic is about.
Oh, the guy's on shrooms and he's going.
Yeah, but she actually. The thing is that
let's face up to the right. It's fucking nuts.
But it was the 60s as well, so
yeah.
And I mean, Kennedy was already. The thing is that there was a doctor. I can't remember his name, but he was basically he used to go around and dish out amphetamines and all sorts of. I mean, this is the swinging 60s. But the point is that, I mean, Mary Pinchot Meyer eventually.
I don't think things have changed, mate. I really don't. I mean, look at remember Michael Jackson? It was a doctor that was implicated in that. You know, they were just fucking dishing out stuff left, right, and centre.
Sure. I think the only change is that people are actually less honourable now.
Yeah, probably. I
think they
right, sorry, anyway. Tell me about Mary. Tell me.
Well, it was after Kennedy's assassination. She had this notebook where she was collecting. Obviously, this woman was through her social circles. A lot of the people that were most likely involved within the CIA, i.e., Angleton, because Angleton was a disciple of Dulles, and they were all moving in these circles in Washington. So she had access to and probably overheard things and was able to find things out and would have wives and stuff talk to her and all this kind of thing. And so she was actually supposedly trying to figure out who'd assassinated Kennedy and actually had a pretty good idea of it. And yeah, she was found, it was supposedly a robbery gone wrong. And they had a patsy who got the blame. And yeah, it's one of those, there's a lot of people who died after Kennedy.
So Britmate says Khrushchev certainly wasn't on shrooms during the 60s. He was on fucking life support and vodka. I think he was mainlining vodka, wasn't he? Khrushchev. Oh, fucking hell, man. I mean, I thought that guy died like 3 years before.
President that wasn't mainlining.
I think Khrushchev was dead for 3 years before they actually realised.
Wouldn't surprise me. It honestly wouldn't surprise me.
Weekend in Moscow. Anyway. Right, so we're on the cusp between news reporting and funnies, and I'm not quite sure where the next slide fits. Well, I think I know where it fits, but you might disagree. Does it get any sicker? A Turkish firm has been selling fake life vests. They soak up water.
Well,
oh my god, that's just ridiculous.
That's
and you know, it's the Washington Post, so it's not like it's fucking.
But who would even do that? I mean, that's just
sick.
It's like really racist
sick
against Turkish people. I mean, the Turks aren't like that.
Oh yeah, how do you know? How do you know what the Turks are like?
Well, just look at the humanitarian stuff that they do in the Arab world.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, but
maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a secret ploy to try and discourage all these migrant people.
I mean,
did you see the video of the Spanish one running a migrant boat over with another boat?
Oh yeah, that was tremendous. Sorry, that was shocking. Absolutely shocking. Yeah, I am. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, let's move on before I get into trouble. That's a good T-shirt.
You're already going to get a knock on the door for that one.
Oh, you can't see it. Right, hold on. I'll see if I can move it up. That's a good T-shirt.
What does the T-shirt actually say?
The T-shirt says, "Stuck Farmer."
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think it's a good one, mate. Yeah, Stuck Farmer. Yeah, well done. I like that. Let's see what next. Oh, right. Okay, so what we got next? Where's the next slide? This I thought was freaking hilarious. Okay. So Pakistan discovers the fourth largest oil reserve in the world. Okay. And of course, my first tweet is India called, they want their fucking country back that Britain took and made Pakistan in 1947. Oh, funny that. Well, they made another country in 1947. Oh, no. Let's not go into that. But yeah, so they took a part of India and just they just unilaterally made this new nation called Pakistan. So people that fucking come from Pakistan, it only existed
along religious lines.
Yeah, but it's still
It was the area where there were predominantly more Muslims and Hindus.
But it was still fucking India. And the only reason it was predominantly more Muslims is because the Muslims fucking invaded in 700 and they weren't able to throw the fuckers back out like the Spanish did. I mean, you think about it. If the Spanish hadn't thrown the Moors out, most of Spain would still be Muslim.
That's true.
That's true.
Yep.
So there you go. So Pakistan has no more right to being Pakistan than India has to being India.
Well, I do think it's interesting that the Americans got ahead of the game and they managed to foment the coup in the country and change the leader.
Yeah.
Before the oil announcement, they were probably like, shit, this announcement's about to go out and we need to coup.
Mm-hmm.
But people keep seeing that oil gets announced and then we take freedom to their country. Yeah. So let's do it quickly beforehand.
I can hear the sound in the background.
Oh no, that was Bangladesh. What I'm talking about.
This is America.
No, I'm talking.
America's about to install freedom in Pakistan, I think. Yeah.
But they already control the Pakistani government.
Yeah, they do. I know. But yeah, the whole thing's a fucking joke. But why would it be a benefit to find the fourth largest oil reserve in the world when everybody's going down the green route? Well, maybe because they're not. That's the problem. Nobody's going down the green route apart from fucking Britain.
Yeah. Everyone's backing away from it.
Yeah, and if you want to watch Latimer Aldo's presentation to that effect, then go to the channel and have a look, because that's basically what he says. So, and I'll give you a snippet here. In 16 years, Britain's contribution to climate change has reduced global temperatures by one 1,000th of a degree centigrade.
And the whole thing is
1,000th of a degree.
Anyway,
doesn't matter whether it's nonsense or not. That's what Britain's contribution to reducing global temperatures has been in the last 16 years.
But
and
that's
Britain,
only if you're going on the basis that CO2.
No. Right, okay.
First place.
Don't fucking go there. Right, okay.
No, well, you just
right?
don't talk out of your asshole then.
No. We're on fucking YouTube, so behave, right? But listen. So Britain's contribution over 16 years of world-leading, right, climate change reductions. We are way better than anyone else. We've done more than anyone else, right? More than Europe, more than America. China's gone the other way, you know. We've done better than anyone else on the planet, and we've only contributed 1/1000th of a degree saving. That's fucking ridiculous.
And how much is that 1/1000th of a degree cost?
You tell me, mate. It's cost me my fucking businesses. It's cost me my job. It's cost me my house. It's cost me everything. Because between that and the fucking disproportionate government restrictions, I'm fucked. But hey, thanks to you people out there. And some people contribute more than others, and maybe you should consider just dropping a note, you know, because we work on a value for value basis. So if you value what we're giving you, you value what I'm giving you, and drop me a little bit and I'll value you even more back. How does that sound? Yeah? Does that sound reasonable?
Clear, I'm doing this for free.
Yeah, he does it for free because he's got a job, and
I have a job.
He has a job and he makes money on Twitter, right? So,
but yeah, support John because it helps.
So support me, and some of our and you know who you are, people. You know, I am very, very grateful of the people that do support me. It's a small group, but it's a group that I deeply love, and I mean that most sincerely.
He's going to start crying in a minute.
No, not yet. Right. I've got to get onto the Captain Jack before I start crying. Right, where are we? Next. Where's the slides gone? Oh. There we go. A dead fox has been found in Orkney. Now, Orkney is a group of Ireland? No, it's a group of islands off of Scotland. Okay. Yes, I do need the producer, Brett, mate. Thank you. Fucking sign up. Anyway, dead fox found in Orkney, which is a group of islands off of Scotland, which is no known fox population. Life has a way. If you'd learn nothing from Jurassic Park, you should have listened to Jeff Goldblum saying, life always finds a way. Doesn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
I love Jeff Goldblum in that movie. I thought he was brilliant.
I mean, especially it's chaotic systems, and honestly, more people need to read up on chaos theory because
they do.
It explains an awful lot of why things go wrong because people try and control systems that are inherently uncontrollable, and once you start moving humans from one island to another, or you're going from the mainland to Scottish Islands, all sorts. I bet there's a whole bunch of shit on Orkney that shouldn't be there.
Well, look at Australia. There's a whole bunch of shit there that shouldn't be there. White people. Secondly, rabbits. Well, in fact, actually, there's a whole bunch of shit in Scotland that shouldn't be there, like fucking wallabies. You know, there's wild wallabies in the north of Scotland.
I didn't know that.
Oh, there's a fucking trip. There's a trip of wild wallabies living in the north of Scotland.
How the fuck did they get there?
They escaped, and they bred, and they fucking live in the north of Scotland. Wild wallabies.
Oh,
so see, life has a way. You can't fucking control it.
No. And well, in some cases it has a negative outcome, like the rabbits in Australia, because there's no natural predators for them.
Yeah.
And you can't introduce a natural predator for them without doing further damage.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. Paulette Hamilton, MP. This is what your fucking MPs are up to. I'm teaming up with official Mel B. That's fucking Scary Spice, is it? Was that Scary Spice?
Yeah, I think that was no. Oh, I don't bloody know. No, Posh Spice, Scary Spice, Baby Spice.
It was Ginger Spice. It was Scary Spice. The fucking black one was Scary Spice. That's a bit outrageous. What?
I thought Scary Spice was one of the white ones.
Well, who? What one?
Always quite well. Posh Spice is pretty fucking scary.
No, but Scary Spice was a real spice, wasn't it? Scary Spice is a fucking black one. It really is.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't. What was it? I'm not exactly a Spice Girls fan. Fucking hell.
Well, do I look like a fucking Spice Girls fan? But
you know more about than I do.
Yeah, Sporty was Mel C. Scary was Mel B, which is the black one. Yeah. I mean the Baby Spice was Bunton. What's her name? Ginger Spice was Jerry Halliwell, married to Christian Horner. and Posh Spice's Bex. Yeah.
What does any of this got to do with the creepy bastard pictured on the slide?
Because she's teaming up with official Mel B, Scary Spice, right, and others to make the UK the first Western country to introduce a law ending Afro hair discrimination. We're calling for Afro hair to be recognised as a protective character. Fuck off! Fuck off! You can't call for hair to be a protected characteristic. People have... I mean, look at this guy. He's not fucking African, and look at that mop he's got. You can't say you're not allowed to have an afro, mate, because you're white. Just because he's got frizzy hair. This is the world gone bonkers, and this is an MP spending her time on this. This is fucking nuts. Is it not?
Well, you don't know this is 2024, right? Nothing surprises me anymore. The world has gone completely batshit crazy. But I mean, one of the reasons that this country is being so badly run is because we've got loads of these bureaucratic idiots being paid loads of money to do all this DEI stuff. They're not focused on actually building the country and repairing things and doing jobs that need to be done. It's all this identity politics and gender politics and all of this bloody nonsense. And it's also it's an excuse because they end up hiring people that are not qualified for the job or not competent to do the job, but they get the job because they've got the right characteristics.
Yeah, I know. That's fucking nuts. It's not.
It's completely bonkers. And you can see the results all around you. We've got roads that are falling to pieces. We've got a government that doesn't work properly. It's just mental.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, a plumber throws a party in the utility room of an apartment block with 2 hookers. And gets busted after the residents hear the fucking noise and call the police. Yeah, hey, the first question I asked, obviously, was it Hunter Biden?
Oh dear! I don't think he's allowed in Russia. He'd probably get arrested or something.
Yeah, he probably would.
They might have an arrest warrant for him, or they just deport him.
Yeah, that's class, mate. Yeah, that is balling. That really is balling, isn't it?
Yeah, I bet his wife wasn't happy about it.
Well, he might not have been married.
Yeah, if he wasn't married, do you think he would be taking
no, okay.
ladies of the night?
Fair point. Well, actually, I said ladies of the night. It doesn't actually specify in the article, but I'm making an assumption there. But
right.
I think probably pretty much would be, wouldn't it? Well, how many girls have you managed to lure to a fucking utility room without the concept of money being... No, don't even fucking answer that, because we don't want to go there. That's just not the kind of questions we ask in this show. That's not the kind of questions we ask.
Well, the answer to the question is none.
No, what happens in Moscow stays in Moscow. Right. Oh, dear, oh, dear. And I've got bad news for the girls. I've really got really terribly bad news for you. I'm sorry. But apparently... apparently, don't shoot the messenger, but you know what, girls? You're 14 times more likely to die in climate disaster than men. It's just shit, isn't it?
Why?
Well, because climate change is gendered. It's gendered against women. That's shocking. I think it needs to be taken to court and held to account. What the fuck? Who can... I mean, how can anyone in any kind of position of so-called journalism write a sentence? And I'm going to read this sentence verbatim, right? It's just one way climate change is gendered. How the fuck can anyone write that?
Words fail me. I can't. I literally can't deal with this climate nonsense anymore. It's just such, and I can't engage. I had to. There was probably about 6 months ago. There was a client that basically my boss asked me to sit in on this client seminar that they were doing about climate change. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. He said, why not? He said, they're going to sit there and ask me questions, and I'm going to have to give them answers which are politically correct, but which I don't believe in at all. So no, I'm not doing it, because I think the whole thing is a massive pile of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And
fair play to you, mate. Fair play.
I'm not going to... Yeah, no.
and what did he say? Well, okay, I'll send something else.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
because there's
so he had to fucking go himself, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. There's no one else to do my job, so.
I knew it. Fantastic. Yeah, well done, mate. Well done. Right, next. Oh, God, here we go. So, study finds paper straws have more harmful forever chemicals than plastic straws.
Which is just the green nonsense in a nutshell. They're finding bad solutions to a problem that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, paper straws, well, they're the most idiotic thing that they're ridiculously stupid. I mean, plastic straws, not good, but it is typical of the whole green thing that they create a problem which is actually worse.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, right? Were plastic straws that big a problem until somebody saw a fucking stupid turtle that managed to stick one up its nose? And I still fucking think that was a setup.
Well, and the people who are like because if you look at all the people who are cheering on the paper straws, they're also the people wearing the masks. Yeah. And they were all wearing those disposable surgical masks, which are now choking turtles in the Pacific.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. I mean, surgical masks are a bigger problem than anything.
It's just hypocritical nonsense. What we need is people to actually throw their rubbish away.
Yeah. So bear in mind, Ray, that don't use your steel or probably even your bamboo straw if you're walking. Because should you trip and fall, it's a fucking good chance that thing's going straight into your brain, mate. Because that has happened. So fair warning. Right. Now, speaking of fair warning, this is not the thing to do if one finds a mine floating on the beach. do not drag it ashore. These are all potential Darwin Award winners, aren't they? I mean, can you see that round thing with the pointy stuff coming out of it? It looks like a kind of space hopper with multiple handles.
That's a mine.
That's the sea mine
on the beach in Sochi.
Yeah, it's in the beach in Sochi, which is in Russia, right? Why the hell would you bring that on the beach?
Because they're Russians. That's the only off. I mean, they're like, I don't know, they're kind of like Scottish people.
Right.
Yeah, it's. I mean, don't do this at home, kids, because that literally is the stupidest thing you could possibly do.
So, this I thought just sums up the world today, doesn't it? Mum criticises Australian toy company for putting exaggerated lips and a larger nose in a black baby doll.
Surely we're just. What's the next slide? I just can't even.
I mean, it's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts. I mean, the thing is, so what you meant to do? What the fuck are you meant to actually do here, right? Because the problem is, are you meant to then put up something that's not representative of a certain community? Is that what you're meant to do?
Well, and if we're saying something, the baby skin's actually not particularly dark. Just
saying. Well, yeah. Hey, well, there's a whole range, isn't there? It's not been in the sun yet. Give it a chance to get a tan.
Fuck. You can't say that.
How?
Oh my god.
Have you? Do you not know? You know black people, don't you?
I lived in Africa for the first 11 years of my life. Yeah.
Well, they get darker in the summer.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
No, but they.
Well, you're not allowed to. Sorry, you're not allowed to say that.
I'm not even.
I mean, that's a tan, is it not?
Yeah. No, that's no. You are allowed to say that.
Yeah,
it's true. Saying that they come out a lot lighter than that. They don't come out really light and then have to get darker. What the fuck? Change the fucking slide. Jesus.
Right, okay. Now, right, this is the last slide, but this came up tonight, okay? So I saw this. If you were born in the 90s or earlier, you have this freckle on your left arm, and I thought, huh? Okay. And I thought, what the fuck is that? So I looked at my left arm, right?
Everyone's looking at their left arm.
Yeah, right yeah. And hold on, I'll need to go this way. Oh, fucking hell, how the hell am I going to show this on the camera? Right, here's my left arm, right? Can you see? Hold on, can you see the fucking freckle?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Barely, but yeah.
Yeah. So, what the fuck? How did that? That's not my left arm, by the way. So, right, Militant Mushrooms got it too. Web Squirrel, I've got it. Not born in the 90s. No, I wasn't born in the 90s either, mate. Fucking have a look. You know?
90s or earlier.
90s or earlier. Were you born earlier than the 90s? Right, so. Elusive Media, if the stream dies, I'll see you next time. Huh? Where's he going? Demonetize? What do you mean demonetize? Oh, fucking hell. What do you mean demonetized? I've not had any notification of that. Anyway, right. No, we won't be demonetized by that, mate. Right, right, so no, that's not a BCG. That freckle's got fuck all to do with any tests or anything like that. That's just a freckle. So have you got one, Ed? Have a look at your arm.
Yeah, well, I've got one there. What? Don't know if that counts.
Where? Point to it. Yeah, that's exactly where mine is as well. So why's everybody got this fucking freckle?
I don't know. Maybe it's a microchip.
No, there's just one fucking freckle in the middle of my arm. There's no other freckles. There's just this one dark. It's almost like a mole, right? So Espresso Mechanic. Espresso Mechanic says he's got nothing. He's 60s. Well, I'm 60s as well. Ray hasn't got it. BCG was on your wrist. It was down here. BCG was down here.
Ray's feeling left out now. Do you see what you're doing?
Yeah, I know.
You're creating division.
I'm just fucking. I'm wondering about this freckle. More men have it. Militant Mushel seen it before, and apparently more men have it. So have you got one, Militant? Yeah, Militant's got it. Militant's got it. Web Squirrel's got it. Illusion Media. Illusion Media's got it. Robin, do you have it? No, Robin doesn't have it. When were you born, Robin? You're quite young, aren't you? Britmate, he's got heaps of them. Yeah, okay. But have you got like one that stands out? It's in the middle of fucking nowhere. I mean, it's just a freckle in the middle. There's a freckle here, and there's nothing on the rest of my arm. Right? Just that one there. Okay? So it's bizarre. So Robin's got nothing. No, he was born 75, so he doesn't have it. Excellent. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a mark of Satan. It could be Nick Taridas. Nick Taridas, it could be. Do you have it, Nick Taridas? Because I think you might be Satan.
It's the least likely person to be Satan that I can think of.
Well, that's exactly why he would be Satan. Fucking hell, you've just... That's exactly why he would be Satan, wouldn't it? I mean, the least likely person to be Satan is going to be the person that turns out to be Satan. Jesus Christ, Ed. I mean, for fuck's sake, we've been doing Rabbit Hole for years now. You should have twigged on this nonsense.
Oh, crying out loud.
I've had a fucking great time tonight. I hope you guys have too. You know, and if you have...
it's been a lot of fun.
If you have, remember, I know you're tight. Some of you aren't tight, but most of you are. But if you're not tight, if you're tight, you can like, share, and subscribe. Because that doesn't cost you anything. Just share the platform. Get us out there. We'll take the meager ad revenue that YouTube deigned to give us over a month if they don't decide to. I mean, they fucking demonetized last night's fucking show. For what? I don't. Yeah, so I've had to put an appeal in for that. I mean, in almost every live show I have to put in and say, don't demonetize it. And by the time they say, yeah, it's okay, you can't, it shouldn't have been demonetized, carry on. You don't get any views because all the views come in the first 48 hours. It's crazy. Yeah, I know we're almost on 5k subs. Thank you, Britmate. You've got an apple for me. Oh, thanks, Nick Taridus. Cheers. I'll fucking suck your apple anytime. If you give me money.
Oh, dear. Yeah, it's been a good show.
It has been a good show. Right, anyway, so we'll finish the slides, so it's free for all now. Is there anybody in the chat that wants to ask us anything stupid before we sign off? Or you can ask us something sensible if you want, but you'll get a stupid answer. But, but that's how it works, isn't it, Ed? That is how it works.
Well, that's
rant more about Starmer. I mean, come on. I mean, we could do like a 12-hour live stream ranting about Starmer because I mean, what is it about? Thank you, Robin. What is it about Starmer that it just right? Certain politicians have this quality, right? They have this quality of, and what would you? It's like you have to give it some kind of value, and it's like skin crawliness, right? So. Certain politicians will have this quality where your skin will crawl at you're just looking at them, your skin crawls, right? And, I ripped the piss out of Hamza Yousaf for over a year while he was First Minister. But, Hamza Yousaf didn't have that skin crawly. He didn't have that skin crawliness quotient.
But the worst ones don't.
No, Hamza Yusuf wasn't the worst. Hamza Yusuf was just stupid, right? And he actually made me money because, you know, he's Hamza's did brilliantly as shorts. Right. So I've got, thank you, Hamza. You made me money, right? But when I'm looking at Nicola Sturgeon makes my skin crawl, right? She has this aura about her that there's no redeeming features in there. It is, in the words of Quinn from Jaws, like staring into the cold, dead eyes of a predator, you know?
Well, that's like Starmer.
Yeah, and Starmer's like that. And so's that see that guy Swinney, right? I was going to voice over Swinney because I can make a stupid East Coast accent because he comes from the East Coast, so people from the East Coast are automatically lower in the pecking order anyway. But and if you come from the East, if you're Scottish and come from the East Coast, you'll know what I mean because you're an East Coaster. Right, Scotland. Right, I'll tell you about Scotland in a minute, but let me finish about Swinney. So Swinney makes my skin crawl, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I did one, and I thought I just can't do this. It's like poisoning your soul, just copying them. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you get that?
No, I do.
You know,
yeah, I do. Absolutely.
I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And the guy doesn't make as many videos as Hamza anyway, but yeah, I just can't fucking... The guy just makes my skin crawl. Starmer makes my skin... I mean, Sunak was an inept dwarf clown, right? But he didn't have that creepiness factor, right? He just had that...
Yeah, but Starmer's still a clown.
Yeah, no,
he's just an evil clown.
Yeah, but he's like evil. Pennywise. Yeah, he's got the creepiness. Starmer's got that creepiness factor, right? Boris Johnson doesn't have the creepiness factor. He has a stupidity, ebullient fucking oaf actor, right? You know, we know
but
once
you realise all of that as an act is actually quite creepy.
Yeah, really but he doesn't come across as creepy, right? Whereas Starmer does, right? Boris, while creepy and an actor, is a fucking good actor, right? And the public loved him, right? The general public loved Boris. Whether you like it or not, they fucking loved him, right? But nobody likes Starmer. Nobody. And the one to me that throws my theory off is Nicola Sturgeon, right? Because Nicola Sturgeon makes me retract them into my body, right? and yet the public fucking loved her. See 90% of the people, they fucking loved her. They really did. They wouldn't hear you say a wrong thing about her.
The media.
Yeah,
it's also about how they're handled by the media. Because it's not, the public don't love the person; they love the person that's portrayed to them in the media, and all of the speeches that get written for them, and the image consultants that they have that tell them what to wear and all this nonsense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's just how it works. But it's the same as it's what you said before about them being actors. They are. It's the public's relationship with politicians. It's the same as it is with actors. Is that they don't know the person underneath the part that they're playing. And that's the same with politicians. The politicians are just the failed actors because they're not very good at it, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the ones that are good at it, then yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a similar sort of thing.
So and right, England's in much the same boat. I understand, okay, but Scotland is a country of clans, and I think England was much the same, except they didn't call them clans; they called them. I don't know what did they call the different enclaves and towns and things in England. You know, when they were peasants.
No, I did. Nectar readers would know.
Yeah, but anyway, right. So I think England had much the same thing because your accent's supposed to change like every 8 miles in England. And Scotland's much the same, to be fair, right? So, I mean, I made friends with a guy who stayed 5 miles away in a different town when I lived in Ayr. And his accent was completely different from mine. And he only lived 5 miles away, right? And then as you move further east, the accent changes completely. And as you move east and north, the accent changes completely. And even as you move west and north, the accent changes completely. So, you give me a Scottish accent and I can, and Ben used to be quite amazed at this because I would say that's an East Coaster or he's from the north and the other one is Inverness. Inverness is a dead giveaway because people that come from Inverness actually sound more English than English people, which is really bizarre. But yeah, so Scotland has all these accents, much like England does, that change every 5 or whatever miles. But commensurate with the change in accent came the ability to fight your neighbour. So Scotland spent most of its time fighting itself, right? So when you go back to the clans and things like that and the Highland clearances and all that, most of the work was done by Scots on Scots fighting each other.
Yeah, but how much of that wasn't English people being involved behind the scenes? Because there's a saying in Ireland that
not an awful lot to start with.
An Englishman's visited one of them.
Not an awful lot to start with, right? The English took advantage of it, but the Scots hate the fucking Scots. They really do.
You guys are all just miserable, grumpy fuckers, basically.
Yeah. I mean, if there's nobody to fight, you'll fight each other. And they do it all the fucking time. I mean, they have 2 football teams in Glasgow, right? They do nothing but fight each other. Rangers and Celtic. And I mean, there's an undercurrent of bigotry around it, right? But that you fucking, I mean, you go from one town to another, and because the football teams changed, you would fight the people in the other town. It's fucking, they're nuts. They're really fucking nuts. Scots are crazy. And that's why you don't want to fuck with them. They don't need an excuse to fight. You're right. Milton.
Yeah, no, I have one of my rules is not to mess with Scottish people.
Yeah. You don't want to. Really? They're bizarre. How bizarre. How bizarre.
I think I'm going to need to call it a night soon because we've been going for nearly 2 hours and I'm knackered.
I've had a great night, mate. Thank you very much.
It's been excellent. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. And I hope it's been a lot of fun for you people out there as well. Because, we try. We do our best, don't we, Ed?
Oh, we certainly do.
Top show, says Brit, mate. Top show. Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
So, thank you very much. I do love you all. You know that. You do. And I completely...
big love, guys.
In a fraternal way, of course. I don't want you getting ideas. I don't want any funny fucking DMs now. So with that, it's been great for you. It's Friday night and we're all in.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think graduates, heart full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough. I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost. We all know that we never really want a boss. So I'ma do what I want to, something I can't undo. Yeah, I'ma do what I want to, something I can't undo.
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe.
So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know